This is my little video on how I made my lid for my bow front tank. I made the other video on my channel on how to set up an aquarium to use for like a snake, to set it up properly so you can have proper heat and humidity. Um, I happen to use a bow front tank when I did this, and from that video and pictures I've posted of my lid and the tank, I've gotten questions on how I made this. A little backstory is my first snake was a ball python. Came home with her on a Sunday. Knew I had this aquarium that I was like, hey, I can turn that into a home for the snake. She can live in that for a while. At the time, little did I know that that wasn't going to be the easiest thing to set up. It can be done. I did it. My snake's thriving. And I still use this lid today. I have a king snake that lives in the aquarium now, and so this keeps him in his cage. Um, Go over the tools you need. Of course, you need a rivet gun, some rivets. I use the 1/8 rivets, and then I don't have the pack of them. I just show them. There's little washers that I used that are in the same section. You can see I used one on that one, and I didn't use one on that one for some reason. Uh, Besides that, you'll need a tape measure, a drill with a drill bit, a Sharpie, and something like a Dremel with a cutoff disc. That's what I use to cut the aluminum to length and to make some relief cuts. And side cutters, something to cut this wire. Material wise, hold on, let me move this stuff and we'll talk about material. Material wise, I found the screen at the store. Put my hand on it. It was a pretty big roll. I made sure that the width of the roll was deeper than my tank, so I could cut it to fit. Um, it's not the screen type stuff for screen porches. It's like round wire with that's put together and made these little squares. So I find something like that. The aluminum. Where's the sticker? This stuff is at Lowe's. It comes in different widths and thicknesses. You can kind of see that it's 1/16 by a half inch by 3/4 by 4 feet. I think the 1/16 is the thickness, and then half is one side, 3/4 is the other length of the other side, and of course it was 4 foot long. I want to say it all comes with a short. All of it has a short side and a long side. Of course, I got my short side up on top, long side on bottom, or on the vertical. If you can get this longer, your sides, do that, but you don't want it thicker. Because if you get it thicker, then it might give you trouble helping make this. Of course, my lid's covered in my tinfoil mud. To start out, you're gonna want to cut your back piece to the length of your tank. I think I ran mine flush, and then you're gonna want to cut your sides pretty much to the length. I think I matched up how when I cut how my tank aligns. I don't remember. It's been 2 years, but I want to show you. Where's the corner to show you? My side pieces sit on top of my front and back pieces and overlap. If you can see that, that's how I did it. I lined, and then when I went to join it, had them together, made a mark, and drilled my hole. So I only had to drill once and then put my rivet. And then oh, there's my edge. You can see my edge right there on that one's not perfectly together. My lid fit really tight, so at first I thought it wasn't going to work, and then after messing with it, I think that kind of made that spread a little bit. So then my lid fit and it was tight. Or still fits tight. It quite didn't. I don't think it quite went on when I made this. I don't remember. Um, so you get your two sides and your back cut, and then you can probably start marking spots and taking your wire and rivet it to the back piece, and then the side down the side piece, and then you're going to need to measure it to your other side, and then attach all that. Once you have the back and the two sides done, put your lid on your tank, and then take your wire cutters and cut your wire to match the curve of your bow front tank, and that so that and make it flush with the outside edge of your tank. That might give you a little extra material, but a little extra is better than a little less. Um, then you're gonna go and cut. You got to make the front piece, which is the part that's fun and has to curve. If I remember correctly, I stuck this on the tank how it was going to sit, and I let it run until the tank started to curve, and this kept going straight, and I made a mark. And then I made these little cuts, and mine are pretty big. You could probably make these a little smaller, but that is with the Dremel. I cut from the edge all the way in, and then an angle cut to take that chunk out, and that allows this to flex or bend. And I kept going across until I got to the other side. And once I had the piece, I think I made this a little longer than it needed to be. So then I came after I had it bent, I came back and I fastened it only on the front piece to only one side of one of the sides. Then I put it all on the lid, and probably I believe I kind of saw how it was going to fit together. And then I came back and finished it by attaching the front to the other side, and you after you get it situated, you want to see where your wire meets inside, so you can put your rivets with the washers. Um, my my front piece doesn't it's not flush against the bow. I have little gaps. Um, so you'll need cage clips to hold it in. Basically uh, cut into my tinfoil mod and made it hook onto the aluminum, and it works real well. How these cage clips fit. Cause like I had the tank set up for a little bit. I was at work. My wife came home, and the ball python had a little bit of herself sticking out of the cage. Freaked my wife out. She had to open the lid, put the snake back. Thought she was gonna get bit. Of course, the snake was a juvie or a baby actually. Um, but luckily at that time, I didn't have cage clips, but she was so small she couldn't lift the lid at the time. So I have a king snake in here now. He's a yearling, and he's getting up to the climbing up now. But so far, with cage clips, and this fits somewhat fits on the top, so he doesn't have any gaps to climb through for where the gaps are between the vertical uh, side parts and the bow. But I think if you put these cuts closer together and more of them, you can get this front piece bent to where it'll match real well. Because I know like this side has the gap between it and the tank, but it makes up where it sits on top of this section sits on the top of the tank. There's no gaps, so nothing get out. Um, so that's pretty much how I made it. And then of course I did the tinfoil mod. This I put my tinfoil down, packing tape, then came back and cut where I needed to cut for like my heat lamp, my vent, And then that's not a vent. That's where I slide a LED light bar that I got at Lowe's to do my daytime lighting. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks.